AH's ex-lawyer, Elaine Brebehoft, has lawyered up. That's right. As AH, she's being sued in the aftermath of Virginia. See, apparently no one wants to pay that $8 to $10 million bill that it costs to have the trial for AH in Virginia. Elaine, she's being named as one of the causes for somebody to get out of paying. She's being blamed for some nasty stuff behind the scenes, so of course, she doesn't want to get held in the bag. Now, what makes this even better is that Elaine, she ends up trending worldwide when people hear about this. I mean, this is absolutely amazing. You and I, we're going to talk about those lawsuits. There's actually 3 pieces of it. It's amazing. Everyone's eating everyone. Fun times, huh? Fun times indeed. All right, so hey there to all you fine folks on this fine day, by the way. I hope you are doing excellently. And as far as Elaine Brebehoft is concerned, I don't blame her for lawyering up. You've seen how AH treats people. You've seen her throwing people under the bus. If they get to that point, I'm sure that will end up happening. But right now, with nobody wanting to pay the bill for that cost in Virginia, again, $8 to $10 million just to get to the loss part, there are fingers pointing everywhere. Elaine, she's being brought up in this because apparently she was involved in some ugliness behind the scenes stuff that we never knew about, with lawyers eating their own. I mean, this stuff, it is magical. Now, as far as why Elaine needs a lawyer in the first place, and she does. I mean, she really does need a lawyer. Otherwise, she's going to be holding the bag at the end of this. Somebody's going to end up suing her. She's going to have problems there. But you have to understand exactly who's suing who. You have one insurer suing another insurer, they're suing back. AH being sued in there as well. And Elaine, she's being used as a reason because she did some nasty stuff behind the scenes. Now, you have the real Laura B on YouTube breaking this down in an hour-plus long video. If you want real detail to it, check that out. I'm going to say you should, too. But the players involved in this, they are Travelers Policy or Travelers Insurance. Travelers Insurance, they give a homeowner's policy from November 14th, 2018 to November 14th, 2019. You notice, by the way, the op-ed, it pops up December 2018. So she opens these up, it looks like, so she'll be covered when that comes up. But you also have ProSite. This is also New York, Maine. They're another insurer. They're a general liability insurer. They have a policy open up from July 2018 to July 2019. That's part of the way that she was trying to foot the bill. Now, what's amazing here is that apparently Elaine, Rottenborn, they were up to some nastiness behind the scenes. They were edging out other counsel, which comes back to bite them in this stuff, by the way. But essentially, what it looks like is they wanted the glory. They wanted all of that money. They figured, just like all of these other co-conspirators, they figured JD, he was going to lose this case. He was going to end up having to pay for everything, so who cared about it? Again, they did some nasty stuff behind the scenes. Elaine was involved in that, according to this. Now that there is a loss, her name is being brought up. Like I said, she ends up holding the bag in some ways. And this kind of thing, if you don't get your money, well, guess who ends up in trouble? People like Elaine do. So what's happening here? And we haven't had access to these documents for some time, but now you have the insurers. They want to combine all of these actions into one thing, essentially, because they want their money and they want it now. But the first lawsuit or the first action that involved Travelers, that's going to be the homeowner's insurance, going after ProSite, that's going to be the general liability insurer. They came out after the trial and they said, you know what? I mean, we're talking about quite a bit of money here that we're on the hook for, around $8 to $10 million. Now, we have paid all of this, by the way. ProSite, they're not paying anything whatsoever. As far as their insurance contract goes, they're on the hook for at least 50% of this. They need to come in. They need to pay their part. And this is where Elaine's name comes in, because she gets involved in some dirty business, like I said, apparently. So ProSite answers this. They say, we're not going to pay for that at all. Why? Because, travelers, you don't have clean hands. You have unclean hands in this. And I'm going to explain what that means, but let's read this part right here. Travelers engaged in inequitable conduct and has unclean hands which completely bar, in whole or in part, any claim which Travelers has for the recovery of defense fees which it incurred following the November 6, 2020 withdrawal of Cameron McAvoy. That is a very important name. This is the name tied to Elaine, tied to Rottenborn. This is why these people, they need to defend themselves in it from the insured defense in the underlying action. Now, to explain this, I want you to see this part right here. They're saying, what happened? This results, this withdrawal, from the conduct of independent counsel. So, the reason that Cameron McAvoy ends up withdrawing is because of Elaine Brebehoft. It's because of Rottenborn. It's because of Roberta Kaplan and on. These people, they are undermining. Now, that's a problem, too, because for the insurers, they have their own representatives. On the traveler's insurance side, that's Elaine Brebehoft. That's Rottenborn. That's Roberta Kaplan. Those are their people. They could have either brought in their own counsel or they could attach to AH's people. They end up with those folks. On the other side of this, for ProSite, they attach to Cameron McAvoy. And they're saying, the independent counsel appointed by the insured, that would be the traveler, and funded by a traveler who affirmatively and deliberately refused to cooperate with and actively sought to obstruct, prevent, and limit the participation of New York Maine's or ProSite's appointed counsel. So, you're talking about Elaine interfering with another lawyer. They're deliberately sabotaging them behind the scenes. Independent counsel retained by the insured and funded by travelers consistently refused to cooperate with Cameron McAvoy, deliberately and obstructed and prevented Cameron McAvoy's active involvement in defense of the insured. They're saying, again, they left them off of things. They didn't allow them to be involved. And because of that, they have unclean hands. So they don't have to pay the bill. Yeah, you see Elaine here afraid that she's going to be thrown under the bus. With good reason, I'd say. This stuff, it is aimed her way. Oh, man. I mean, you have AH. She's brought up in lawsuit. Elaine, she's brought up in lawsuit. Again, nobody wants to pay. Everybody's held accountable. It's beautiful. It's beautiful stuff. But let me know what you think about this. And as always, I appreciate the heck out of you. You make this stuff work. Thank you. If you want a good breakdown of it, check out, again, Laura B. Very in-depth. We can break this down in a live stream, too. Let me know about it. But check out the links in the description if you want to help out the channel. You being here, though, big help. Thank you. Appreciate you. End it here. See you soon.